Freedom came, but the doors to money stayed shut. After the Civil War, Black Americans tried to enter the nation's financial life only to find suspicion waiting behind the counters. Loans were denied. Savings were treated as temporary. Opportunity was offered with conditions that kept people bent, never rising, so communities turned inward and did something radical. They pulled what little they had, nickels wrapped in cloth. Crumpled wages from fields and factories. Offerings gathered after Sunday service. Trust became currency long before paper ever did. In rented rooms and narrow storefronts, black bankers opened ledgers and promised something the wider system rarely had: respect. One of the earliest great hopes was the Freedmen's Savings Bank. It carried the weight of federal blessing, and that meant something to people who had only recently been counted as property. Depositors believed their money would finally rest somewhere safe. Instead, risky investments and corruption hollowed it out. In 1874, the bank failed. Imagine the scene: laborers arriving to withdraw a few dollars, mothers saving for children, veterans who had worn the country's uniform. They reached the counter and discovered the vault had betrayed them. Generations would remember that shock. Still, black finance did not disappear. It rebuilt. In Durham, leaders like C.C. Spaulding helped create institutions that nurtured insurance companies, home ownership, and business growth. Money began to circulate within the community, strengthening it from the inside. Brick buildings rose where doubt once stood. Further west, in Tulsa, black banks helped fuel a district of such visible prosperity that outsiders stared in disbelief. Tailors, physicians, hoteliers, and shopkeepers all depended on access to capital created by their own neighbors. For a moment, it seemed possible, not equality granted from above, but stability built by hand. Yet history had other plans. Success can attract admiration, it can also attract enemies. In 1921, racial terror descended on Greenwood during the Tulsa Race Massacre. Airplanes circled. Buildings burned. Businesses that had taken decades to establish vanished in hours. Safes melted. Records turned to smoke. Insurance companies refused to pay many claims. Families who had carefully stacked wealth watched it collapse into rubble, and even when flames were absent, danger remained. The Great Depression swept across the country, toppling banks everywhere. But black institutions stood on thinner ice. Their customers were more likely to lose jobs first and recover last. Withdrawals came in waves. Without deep reserves or powerful allies, many banks closed their doors quietly, painfully. Later, integration reshaped the landscape again. Access to larger financial institutions was a victory of civil rights, yet it created an unintended consequence.